From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
we continue our series on capital opportunities in 2024 with Pier 70 Ventures. We preview the upcoming NBA All-Star Minority Business and Opportunity Week. And Courtney Kincaid talks transglobal business.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
We continue looking for new opportunities to access capital with a look this week at Pier 70 Ventures. The group says it backs impact-driven innovation, funding disruptive technologies with the potential to shake up the status quo in healthcare. Talk to Sean Hawkins, the managing partner of Pier 70, about how it works and how it can help Indiana companies.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
My name is Sean Hawkins. I'm one of the managing partners at Pier 70 Ventures, and I co-lead what we call the Impact Fund, where innovation meets impact. And I'm based right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Pier 70, you can look at it as really kind of a bridge between two key constituents. Limited partners, so this would be companies or foundations or endowments. So here locally, like let's say the Lilly Endowment, or corporations like Eli Lilly and Company or Cummins, and then entrepreneurs, right, who have great ideas. So our fund, we're focused on healthcare. So we're primarily focused on digital health opportunities, devices, diagnostics, therapeutics, and we also have a lens towards investing in diverse founders. And so those investors who want to have impact, right, but they want to have impact through the vehicle of a venture fund and an impact in the area of healthcare, they come to funds like ours to invest their capital. And we invest their capital right here in the state of Indiana, but we also invest throughout the rest of the United States. When we focus on both from an investor standpoint, again, major companies, major foundations, major endowments who are looking to do more than just make money, they want to do good with their capital, right? And so they invest in vehicles like ours, a venture fund, which are very similar to a mutual fund, but we invest only in private companies that are not publicly traded. So in terms of the investments that we're looking for, we are looking for brilliant entrepreneurs who have what we feel like are the next game-changing technologies. And so whether it's in the field of diabetes and you have a great therapeutic that may address some of the unmet need in type 1 diabetes or even type 2 diabetes, we're looking at those opportunities. One of our most recent investments came from University of Notre Dame, which is absolutely a game-changing technology, non-invasive, non-contact diagnostic for congestive heart failure and chronic kidney disease. And so when we look at opportunities and we don't see many other assets or products or services like that, that's when we look at, that's what we're talking about when we're referring to disruptive and game-changing technologies. Look, no one is perfect, right? No opportunity is perfect. And waiting until your idea has been fully formed and that you've thought out every roadblock and you've come up with a solution to get around that is probably too late, because someone else is advancing a very similar opportunity and they're taking that chance. So we want entrepreneurs to come to us, right, when they've developed, if it's a digital health opportunity, when they've developed their MVP. So they have some sort of product or service that they think that they can launch. And then we can help them put the icing on the cake, and we can add the sprinkles and we can add the decorations. But it doesn't have to be fully formed or even fully baked. An entrepreneur that has the next game-changing technology, let's say for cancer, we don't need them to have an FDA approval. We need them to have sound rationale for why they believe their target is the right target to address whatever aspect of cancer, and then let us put our resources, our capital, our scientific resources to grow together and make this successful and get it to patients. So sometimes, and it's really hard, right? In the financial services industry, it's hard to understand what type of capital do you need. When you're starting and you have an idea, you want someone to maybe believe in you that's not your friends and family, sometimes people go to a bank. The problem with going to a bank for capital, which is a great way to do it if you want to own all of your company, is a bank is going to require you to have a personal guarantee, right? And generally, if you need a $500,000 loan or a $1 million loan, you need to have a $500,000 or $1 million in net assets for the bank to provide you those monies. But if you go to angel investors or if you go to venture capitalists, we don't require that, right? We require, though, in exchange for us taking risk, is a part of your company. And so some entrepreneurs, that makes them makes them nervous as well in sharing a portion of their company with someone who is providing investment capital. But that is what we get in exchange for our risk. And then I would say that sometimes some of my peers in the industry haven't helped our cause, if you will, because we sometimes look at the world as a zero-sum game. And we want to extract as much value as possible, maybe not leaving as much value for that entrepreneur. And so at Pier 70 Ventures, we do well when our entrepreneurs do well. We're not extractionists. We believe in more of an expansive mindset, and so we try to expand the pie. We're going to take our fair share of the equity of a company, but we want that entrepreneur and that owner to have as much as makes sense. We want that person to grow, and we want that person to actualize their financial goals as well. There's a lot of sources for money, right? But again, one of the ways that we feel like we differentiate ourselves at Pier 70 Ventures is that we provide our full network of advisors, our full network of developers, relationships with major companies, again, like Eli Lilly and Company, Google, Amazon, to help our entrepreneurs. And so we participate in business strategy sessions. We participate actively as board members in our portfolio companies. We help them think through the development plan, especially if they're going through the FDA, and we provide them access to introductions to help them grow their business from a vendor standpoint. And so, the great thing about the Pier 70 team is many of us were senior within major corporations, and so we have Rolodexes to get the entrepreneur in front of the right people at major companies to then do business and then help grow their revenue. By interacting and investing in healthcare, there's usually a patient, right, that's on the other side. And that patient might be my mother, might be my brother, might be one of my family members. And so that always gets me going, right? Which is why I was at 15 years, I was at Lilly. I've been in the healthcare industry for about 24 years, 25 years, right? So that is always a driver. But then to have the privilege of combining my training, my formalized training in venture capital and financial services with my passion about being inclusive in who gets access to capital. No day is a work day, right? And it's easy to work late in the evenings. It's easy to work on the weekends. And every day I'm just motivated because the patient is waiting. There's entrepreneurs with great ideas who simply need one person to believe in them and simply need one group to wrap their arms around them and say, here's a way to do it, and we're going to help you go from point A to point B.
Time for This Week in Business. The NBA All-Star Game at long last returns to Indianapolis this month. There are many events surrounding the game, including one aimed at entrepreneurs and minority business owners. InnoPower Indy and others are presenting an All-Star Minority Business Opportunity Week. InnoPower founder and CEO Emil Ekior fills us in on the events and explains why he thinks it's important for minority businesses to participate.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
So we sat down, obviously, with Circuit City Broadcasting, BE&O Show, Indianapolis Recorder, JP Morgan Chase, First Internet Bank, Sagamore Institute, to look at, we've had so much activity around black business and black business support in Indianapolis for the last 4 years. Amazing work. How do we leverage the weekend, All-Star Weekend, to celebrate all of this work, all of these organizations, right? And normally what happens when you have an All-Star Weekend, a Super Bowl, a lot of these small businesses and organizations don't come downtown. Things are expensive. They don't want it. There's nothing created for them. So we were able to all come together and create this weekend where we're celebrating organizations, the Black Chamber, Mid-States, the City of Indianapolis Minority and Women Business Development, Business Equity for Indy, Elevate Ventures, all of these organizations who are working directly with small business owners. We're showcasing that. We're showcasing small business owners and just all the business activity that we've seen for the last 4 years. And sometimes I think in Indianapolis, because we all live here, we take it for granted that other cities are doing the same things. But we travel around the country and we see that in some cases, we've created a unique ecosystem by chance, but we've done it. Very few cities have a show every weekend that highlights minority businesses. Very few cities have the connected ecosystem of organizations trying to work together to support businesses. So showcasing that, getting those businesses to come downtown, network, but also have some time to let their hair down and enjoy things. That was kind of the whole thought process, but was trying to do it with all the different organizations in town and do it as a united group. Oftentimes we miss opportunities to recruit people to our city. And because when events like this happen, rightfully so, we want to make sure those events are done right and we put up activities to entertain, but we're not deliberate about showcasing why it may make sense for you to expand your business to Indianapolis. So if you're a minority business owner and you're in town, we want you to say, oh my God, I didn't know this was happening in this city. I may want to think about coming to do business here. So that's kind of the idea of all of this is showcasing Indy in a positive light from a minority business standpoint, getting other minority businesses that are in town to engage our local businesses, and maybe we might steal a couple to come to our city to do business. I think the number one thing is it is very important we continue the momentum that we've created the last 4 years. So much has happened in this city in the last 4 years. We're in so much of a better position than we've ever been since I've been in the city. So we don't want that to die. So how do we keep that momentum going? I think what we're doing allows that momentum to continue growing. So the number one win is that at the end of the weekend, we all feel more energized about the work we've been doing. And Monday morning, we wake up ready to go back to work. So that's kind of what we see the weekend as, is we're showcasing our city, but we want to energize folks that are just doing the work, because the work is hard. The businesses are grinding. So hang out the weekend, engage other businesses, network with other businesses, and then wake up Monday morning more energized about the rest of the year. What we're doing is initially, every business owner that's been on the BE&O show will have access to the weekend for free. Every business that's a member of the Black Chamber will have access for free. If you're a member of our Indie Biz Pass, you get into the events for free. If you've done any kind of work to receive support for Business Equity for Indy or the City of Indianapolis. So all of those businesses get free access, right? So we want to engage those businesses, celebrate them by saying, hey, look, you've been working so hard. We don't want you to pay for these activities. But we also want them to understand that all of these things are connected to what's helping you. Nothing matters if the business owner is not making money. So we want them to know that. We want to know the resource that is BE&O, all the businesses that have been on here to share their stories, and we want to acknowledge them. We want them to see their stories on the screens during the weekend. So that is the whole idea, right, is to look back and say, wow, we've done some great things, but we got a long ways to go. We still got work to do, but we have to be energized about the work coming.
Let's talk dollars and cents and how to keep track in accounting and bookkeeping. Today, the president and CEO of the Indiana CPA Society has tips for when your local company does business on a global scale. Here's Courtney Kincaid.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
as businesses are looking at their coming year, or planning for the next few years, as they often are this time of year, something that a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs are interested in is just global expansion. If we would have said that 20 years ago, it would have been a completely different scenario. But as we know, that the barriers to expansion globally have been significantly reduced. And in fact, studies show that businesses that do expand globally are much more likely to be successful in the long term. So when we talk to small businesses and CPAs are consulting with them, they talk about, don't just limit yourself, used to be to your state or your country, but now it's genuinely everywhere. We at the Indiana CPA Society talk to even our members. They have global clients. Even very small sole practitioners have clients that are not operating in the United States, which is great, but it also has other considerations that you might have to, think through if you want to do that. Some of those considerations include things such as currency exchanges and the nuances there. We're also looking at different financial reporting frameworks. So accounting is governed by American principles. So when you move into some other countries, how their financials are reported, you have a lot of different requirements. And working with a CPA who understands the international financial reporting system is going to be really critical at that moment. Some other things that people need to consider is transfer pricing and also just tax compliance. So many of the rules that Indiana or the country work under are, governed by national rules, the United States. I mentioned accounting principles, but also our tax system, right? And so similarly, when you are moving to a different country to conduct business, being aware of compliance, and specifically compliance related to their tax system, is really important. I've been on here a number of times to talk about fines and fees for not complying with U.S. tax code, but similarly, that's the case internationally as well. And so when you think about expansion globally, taking that into consideration, and just because you're going one place doesn't mean you can go all of the places. And that sounds very simple, but sometimes thinking through the cost of doing business in multiple jurisdictions is a really important part of determining if you want to take that business. Obviously, I talked about doing business from a tax perspective of what taxes you might need to pay in this other country, but also you need to be considering what that means for your own taxes here, and how taking revenue from other countries might impact your obligation and taxes here in the U.S. So your CPA is a really great resource to talk to about this. Also, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has a significant library of resources. Sometimes it's nice, just to get your brain going before you jump into the conversation. So I would point people to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and then also the AICPA, which is the National Association for CPAs.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV, or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.